Welcome to the Stacked Supplement Podcast, the premier source for supplement news and reviews.
Today we have a very special episode of the Stack Podcast with an interview with the man behind Core Nutritionals, who has been the most, I will say, the most exciting brand of the year. In my mind, it's just been delivering over and over and over, and there's a shitload more to come. So yeah, here we have Doug Miller.
What's going on, Shane? How you doing?
This has actually been like a long time coming. Everybody kind of asks, they request people to be interviewed, but we've only kind of just got into a consistent basis, and I was like, we got to do this, even though our regular podcast, we kind of go over all the news of the week. So people are very familiar with Core, and as you guys are featured pretty much every single damn week. And if you're on the site, it's probably almost every second damn day. And I remember at the start of the year, you said you wanted to be featured, as much as you could. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Everyone says that. Yeah. And I was 6 months in. I'm like, shit. So I gotta ask, was the plan to be this intense? And I don't mean that like as in so consistent, but like compared to previous years, it's a huge leap. So was that the intention?
Yes. Yeah. So at the end of last year, for a good part of last year, I really had to put Core kind of on hold for a couple of reasons. One is it's a pretty massive brand in terms of breadth of SKUs. So we knew we were going into a rebrand, and we still had a ton of labels, right? So we had to be strategic about launching those labels, right, and not throwing away hundreds of thousands of dollars in labels. So there was definitely a pause there for a while. Shane, you still with me?
Yeah, I'm just working it out here.
Yeah. So there was a little bit of a pause there, right? So it was a strategic plan to kind of ramp down of our current inventory, run out the remainder of our final labels, and really there was we only launched like 2 products the second half of last year, and that was just because we had a lot of other stuff going on. So last year I was really involved with the launching of the Arms Race Nutrition, which was a massive undertaking. And we also had a lot of stuff going on the Miracle Lab side. So it was kind of like the perfect opportunity to just kind of take a pause and take a breath on the Core side. But really there was so much stuff going on in the background in 2019 at Core, especially the second half, that no one saw, because to get the labels where we wanted them to be, to kind of plan out our launches, to kind of plan out all the different formulas and how we were going to space them out and kind of project when it was the right time to launch the new product or the rebranded product throughout the year. It took so much time, right? And we're just seeing that now. It's just now it's kind of rapid fire, but this has really been a year in the making of kind of doing this. And we just felt that the brand needed a little bit of a refresh. The last time we rebranded to those black labels was about 5 years ago, and I think that's a good amount of time for a brand look. We've been around for 15 years, so this is probably our 4th or 5th generation type label. And we really wanted to bring up the packaging to the quality of the ingredients, and at the same time we wanted to we've learned so much through the years with our relationships with manufacturers and ingredient suppliers and flavoring, that we wanted to take the opportunity to really make what we think are some of the best products on the market even better. And so we took this opportunity to any type of flavor tweaks or formula changes or updates. Now is the time to do it as we switch to the new label. So it was a lot of planning going into it, and I expected it to be a crazy year, but I think it kind of even slipped away. And sometimes I look back at like what we did. When I made that post the other day, and I was like, through June 30th, we'll launch 39 new SKUs. And then I was planning out the second year, and I was I was doing cardio or something. I was on my notepad just planning out all the other stuff, and I missed a bunch the first time around. I was like, oh man, I forgot that. And it ended up like we have about 40 other SKUs that we're going to be bringing out in the second half of the year. And so it is what it is. We're kind of on a roll now, and I really don't feel like slowing down. I mean, we're having so much fun doing it.
That was my other question, I guess. In the past, brands that have just smoked it one year or done extremely well or had a standout year, even won our brand of the year, they've done well that year and they haven't been able to, I guess, keep it going or follow because they were just planning for that year, or that was, just maybe it caught up to them. Yeah. Is, because even though last year you guys didn't do a lot, previous years you still didn't do anywhere near as much as you've done, at least for Core. So going into 2021, which is like, strange to think, but only like 6.5 months away, do you plan on keeping this momentum? Do you plan on keeping this kind of frequency going?
Well, Shane, I see it as a challenge. Like when you told me like, oh yeah, you had a good first quarter, let's see if you can keep it up. I was like, okay, just wait and see, buddy. So now I think challenge accepted, 2021, every day on Stack3d. So, no, but seriously, I mean, we have learned so much during this time, and we've really have some great relationships with our manufacturing partners at this point that we're already planning a ton of new products, exclusive flavors, limited runs, just a bunch of stuff for the future. And we have the ability to turn things so quick now that we really don't plan on stopping. And, one of the things that it's kind of funny because we really started accelerating right when the whole world was shutting down, really like the last 3 months. And so I was talking to the guys in the office here, and I was like, it was like a blessing and a curse, right? Like, I was like, man, if we didn't do this rebrand, it would have been a tough time, right? Because we had so much good stuff that kind of kept us going. And then I was like, man, just imagine if the world was open when we did the rebrand.
Yeah.
I don't know if we would have been able to keep up, during that time. But it's been a time where, obviously wholesale has still been, really steady for us. And I think it's because of the rebrand. But, in general, wholesale is really down, right? Because retailers are just not open, not selling product. So we're already seeing kind of a spike and an increase in the wholesale side. Our direct-to-consumer business has been just next level for us. And, we have we like to say that we have great clients. And what I mean by that is these are not customers that will buy Core Fury and then that's all they buy. Our average ticket on our direct-to-consumer website, the carts that these guys put together and gals are massive. And I think that's because they're really latching on to what we're doing with the brand, right? So, I hate the term lifestyle brand, it's like everyone, but I mean, really that's kind of what we've created here, right? Like it's, we joke about the crush it, slogan that we use, but it really is something that resonates really well with people. And I think they appreciate what we do and how we formulate and just kind of how we live our lives. And I think it's created a really good community that we have. And with that being said, that's why our direct-to-consumer business has really taken off. And that's where I see a lot of limited releases and stuff like that we can do, for our community now. And, given our new manufacturing relationships that we've gained over the past year or two, we're just in a really good spot to continuing to innovate. And so I'm excited, I'm excited for the second half of 2020, but I'm also excited for, 2021 and beyond.
Yeah, that was my next question. Was has the uptick in consistency, effort, and focus, has it been reflected in growth and sales? And by the sounds of things, it has. And to be honest, the website thing to me, it makes sense. Core has always been to me one of those brands that's you don't buy one thing from, you buy everything from, right? Like, I would say only a handful of brands are like that I actually go to, buy everything from, and that's what I take for next 3 months. So of all the launches you've done so far, and I mean, again, you'll know the number. I can't keep up with the count.
Yeah.
But of all the ones you've done so far, what was the longest one what was the one that was in the works the longest, like that took you the most time to put together? Because there has to be one. There's always one for people.
So really, there's probably two. It's greens and Fury.
I was gonna guess Fury.
Yeah. So I'm really proud of Fury, right? Like, because it's hard. There's 100,000 pre-workouts out there.
Oh,
like literally, there's 100,000, right? Like, and it's really hard to have a pre-workout that people will say, man, this is an amazing pre-workout that I'm going to continue to buy, right? Like, and also has a great flavor, a great feel, a great pump. And from the feedback that we've received, I think we really accomplished that with Fury, and not only that, on paper, it's very unique. It's got obviously the non-prop blend, the efficacious doses, but there is a unique blend of ingredients there that have never been put together before, like the halostation and the pregnenolone, and then using the vasodrive AP and having all the different pump ingredients in there. I mean, like, it has like appeal on paper and then also in practice. And right, like, formulation is science and it's an art form, really, right? And I really feel that with Fury, we hit it out of the park. I mean, obviously I'm biased, right? Like, but the feedback that we get is great. And for a pre-workout, somebody's always complaining about something, right? Like, it's probably the most purchased product out there, and there's usually people out there that complain about something, and we really don't get that with Fury. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. And then on the other hand, greens was something that we've had in the works for literally over a year, right? And we had internal debate about what was the direction we wanted to take with greens, right? Like, obviously, like, First Form's Opti Greens is like the industry's biggest seller, but there were certain things in there that we didn't like. And then there was a lot of brands were starting to come out with greens, but they were using stevia and it tastes like greens, right?
Yeah.
So we were like, let's look at our consumer, right? Like, what does our consumer really, like, do they care about stevia versus sucralose when most of our products have sucralose in them? The answer is no. These are going to be greens consumers that are, sports nutrition enthusiasts and people that just want really high quality stuff that tastes great. So we were like, you know what? Let's put together an amazing formula and do whatever it takes to make it taste awesome and an enjoyable experience to drink. So getting to that point with a greens product, that took a lot of work. And I mean, our greens sold out pretty quickly. We're actually out of stock of our berry flavor right now, and it's just, I'm very pleasantly surprised with the response to greens. Because I never got excited about a greens product.
It kind of reminds me of Inspired last year, when they did a lot of odd products that were out of their wheelhouse. Typically, they were all about pre-workout. Then they did like a superfood and a protein with collagen, and like they were surprised their fan base picked them up. And I've always gone with the saying that if you knew what consumers wanted next, you'd either be a millionaire or you're lying. So I feel like you just filling out the line was just, you're giving your consumers things that you probably didn't think you needed, but they didn't think they needed. But then when they saw it, they grabbed it. And I have to admit, the Core Greens still holds the title for me for the best tasting potent greens, because it's become a debate when someone told me, ours is the best tasting greens, and I'm like, there's too many like variables there, because like you can put 2 grams of greens and of course is going to be the best tasting.
Yeah.
And I have ones that are slightly better tasting than Core, but they don't have all that extra stuff in there. They don't even have those high dosage. It's so for me, it still holds that title. But
wait do you try our grape candy and our Arnold Palmer that we're working on?
Oh, I saw those.
I mean, like, I never thought that we were going to be like a greens company and like flavoring like 4 greens flavors, but like we had with our retail stores, we have managers meetings every month, and we just let all our managers try them, and they were all blown away. They're like, what the heck? How is this a greens product? And so, it's only going to get better, on the green side. And, what you were saying about these products that you didn't necessarily think you were going to do, like, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm excited for our vegan protein that's launching in about a week. Like, never in a million years, like literally 2 years ago, if you asked me, because a bunch of people were saying, are you ever going to do a vegan protein? Hell no. Right? Like, because I don't do vegan. Right. But now I do see the demand there, and I do see why people would take it. In fact, one of our athlete/coaches, Paul Revelia, who has we call it the PR series. This is a product that we literally did for him because he coaches thousands of athletes, and he himself is allergic to whey, like not just lactose, like whey.
Wow.
Like he can't take whey isolate, right? So I was like, all right, buddy, you know what? I'm going to throw you a bone here. We're going to make the best tasting vegan protein out there for you. And somehow I'm going to get excited about it. And through that process, like, I can't believe I'm saying it. I'm really excited for this launch on the 22nd. It's like, I think it's going to be, believe it or not, I think it's going to be bigger than Fury, and I think it's going to be bigger than greens for us.
I'm interested to try it because, again, a lot of people are throwing that term best tasting. And I know you've always done it anyway, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, yeah, I'm interested because with the bigger competition, like 2 years ago when people said best tasting, it was still shit, like straight. It was just horrible. Like I would drink some of these and I couldn't finish them. I had tubs there to throw out.
Yeah.
But last year before, maybe a little bit early 2018, we got the competition heated up. We've got people coming in with some serious stuff, and they've been raising the bar. And I wouldn't.
So what's your favorite right now? What's your top three?
Yeah, I'll say top three. For me, it's Protein Switch from Switch Nutrition in Australia. It's a really good. They managed to mask everything and get a bit of flavor. Beams vegan protein. Their blueberry is just, they managed to mask it not quite as well, but they've got that sweetness. The blueberry muffin is just, the sweetness on that one's just so good. And then Ghost. But Ghost, I feel, is the best in terms of they've been able to just keep that base, that smoothness, the best. But I still don't think they've got a whole lot of flavor on top of that. So it's a mixed basket for me, but
well, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you to try it. You'll be first on our list as soon as it's in next week. And so there's three flavors. There's the maple pancake batter, the brownie batter, and then the mixed berry, which, believe it or not, the mixed berry, that's my favorite.
Because I feel like the sweeter you can get it, the better it is, because it's hard to layer. From my experience, it seems to be hard to layer those kind of like typical protein flavors on top of covering all of that plant stuff. Yeah. But I'll be interested.
I think the difference with ours too is that we spend a lot of time on the texture, right? Like, because some of them you can get that really grittiness. Like, we wanted a more silky smooth. So with our vegan creamer that we use in there, it has a really nice texture on top of the sweetness and the taste. So
interesting.
I think that's really important for the experience.
Okay, so since with vegan, with the greens and Fury being, I guess, the most important launches, obviously my next question is, for the second half of the year, what are products that are on that same kind of importance, and I guess how long it's taken you to kind of get them out there for the second half of the year?
Yeah, so I mean, man, I don't even have my full list in front of me, but so we have a ton of expansions, even on just the flavor side or whatnot. But the two that I'm excited about, or I would say the one that I'm the most excited about, is our Core Zone. So Core Zone is our nootropic. I don't. We've gone the route as we're not calling it this is the gamer supplement, right? For playing video games. We're calling this the nootropic for the creative mind, right? So anybody who is the graphic designer, or is spending time on a computer or doing whatever, or really just wants that afternoon, kick and focus. I think the formula that we've put together is next level. The dosing, and again, it's a lower stim. It's going to be, we've been debating back and forth when we were beta testing this, the 150 or 200 mark for caffeine per serving. And I think with such the high level of nootropics and everything else that we have in there, we've decided to go on the lower end of that.
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to be a lower stim around 150, but like the amount of nootropics and just the synergy of this formula is awesome. And so my goal is to launch Zone during the Stack3d Expo that you guys are doing in August.
Sweet.
So like August 10th, I believe, something like that. My goal is to have Zone by then.
Damn, yeah, because if I remember correctly, you said it was kind of meant to be like you're talking along the lines of Core Zap, and this kind of turned into.
So the problem with Core Zap is there's just way too much caffeine, right? Like, so it had a great base formula with the stems, and then it never did well for us, right? Because it was you didn't really know when to use it, right? Like it was
a high stim.
Because there was no pump product in it, and it was so high stim, it was difficult, right? So we fixed that this time because this really is Zap V2 or V3, I should say, but just with a different take on it.
I think to be honest, I've always preferred the just the nootropic approach, because a majority of the nootropic heavy focus supplements you see out there, they are marketed as gaming products or study formulas or productivity or anytime energy things, and it's they still, to be honest, if something is good for focus but it's not promoted as for gaming, it still works the same way. It still does, you get the same benefits. So I'm curious to see on the how that one turns out at the end. The other product I have to ask about, products, is the bar or the balls.
Balls, yeah.
So
update on that. So we have spent countless hours on the bar, right? And just like anything we do, I don't want to, just like we did with the energy drinks and the beef sticks on the Miracle App side, like I don't want to bring out something just to bring it out. Like anybody can do a protein bar, right? Like there's protein bar manufacturers, you can run a formula. Okay. But I want to do something, first, that I would really want to take myself, and two, that I feel is better than the alternatives out there. And so the guidelines that we kind of put around creating this bar were very difficult, right? Like when you want a bar with great macros and taste great and have a great texture, it's hard, right? Because you're working and you don't want to use artificial stuff. Like you're working in a very with tight confines. And so the first company that we spent a lot of time with, man, I still have the boxes here behind me. We have, 8 different rounds of versions of this, and none of them were close to where we wanted to be. Whenever we felt like we were getting close, they took a step back. So we said, screw this, we got to go a different route. One of our staff here is actually he's a protein bar baker himself. Like this is what he does in his free time, literally. And I'll get to that in a second, because he's the creator of our balls. So we actually took to R&D in-house on the bar approach. And so we started making bars ourselves with different combinations of ingredients to see, what actually gets you that right texture. And so instead of relying on a company to do all the R&D, we took about 6 months and started doing it in-house. Finally, when we got to a point where we're like, okay, I think we have a winner, then we turned to another protein bar manufacturer who was closer to us, that we already had kind of a relationship with. And we've tried to have them kind of commercialize it. And we are pretty darn close. I mean, the last round, we are I think we're within 10% of approving it. And so we would launch with 2 flavors. Right now, we only have the one. And it's really darn good, and it's close. And so the take on this bar is whole food based, no artificial fiber, no artificial sweeteners, 20 grams of protein or more, lower sugar than the other alternatives out there, moderate fat. So I don't really believe in eating a protein bar that's 15 grams of fat and 15 grams of protein. To me, that's like an energy bar, right? Like it's not really a protein bar to me. So that was kind of the approach we took with this bar. And, we debated on what brand we wanted to launch it under. And I think we've decided to launch it under Core, given it kind of fits more with that branding. Whereas on the America side, I think we should just do a totally ridiculous 40 gram of protein, like 40 grams of protein candy bar, for the America side. So this bar would definitely be launched under Core.
Yeah, that makes sense. I agree on the fact that it's fitting for Core. Do you think the balls will be more fitting for America? As they sounded more like a dirty kind of thing.
Yeah, so in through the R&D process of this, we've created like cleaner balls, and then we have dirty balls. So the dirty balls, we throw in like candy bits and all sorts of craziness. And so we were kind of playing on that. But I'll be honest with you. So to launch the balls, until next year, when we're going to move our headquarters, and actually we're going to be building out our headquarters and actually building an in-house manufacturing / commercial kitchen for balls. We are going to keep it as a direct-to-consumer business on our website. And given the brand that we've built around Core, America is much more of a wholesale business for us. We do very little and put very little effort into growing direct-to-consumer. That's just not what that brand has been about. It's all been about being in retail stores, being in gyms, being on military bases. It's all about the wholesale business on the America side. So the balls, which we call them dirty balls, but I don't think that's going to be the final name that makes its way onto the box.
To be honest, if it's under Core, I can't imagine dirty balls.
No, we're actually going with driven balls, DRIVN balls. And the idea behind it is we have probably, at this point in time, 15 to 20 different balls. I love talking about balls. We have 15 or 20 different balls that you're going to love to put in your mouth. And what we're going to do is we're going to drop 5 balls at a time. So we're going to have, the idea is we're going to start out maybe every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks. We got to see how it goes. We're going to do a ball drop. And what's going to happen is in that, we're going to put the boxes of balls on our website. And the idea is every box has 10 bags of 5 balls. So when we're thinking about the macronutrients of this, because at the end of the day, that's what we care about as athletes ourselves. The macros on the balls are all around 15 protein, 20 carb, and like 11 fat, something like that. But they're ridiculously, they're crazy good. And they come in, and that's for 5 balls. So there'll be 10 packs of 5 balls, and each drop will be unique flavors. So we'll have 5 different flavors in each box, 2 bags of each flavor in a box of 10. And then we'll sell them on our site. And we're going to do limited drops where, like, literally we're going to run 200 boxes of them, and you need to be waiting for your email at noon to be able to click buy it type of thing, right? Like, our idea was everyone's pushing for that unique functional food on a massive scale. But if you look at, like, how about like the gourmet cookies out there, right? Like My Cookie Dealer and what is a big, like, Fat and Weird cookie. They have, they'll put up on their website or their Instagram, all right, cookies are live, right? And they sell 2,000 cookies in like 4 minutes, and they're sold out. So, and they're very unique. They're unique runs. And so that's what we're going to be doing with this. We're doing very unique. They taste amazing. The macros are really good. And once they're gone, they're gone. And, maybe at some point in time when we're scaled to be fully commercialized in our own facility, we'll bring back boxes of, different flavors or whatnot. For now, we're going to be doing it as a very unique ball drop every couple weeks.
To be honest, it sounds like a project, like the bar and the balls itself, sounds like a project big enough that one brand would allocate a whole 6 months to. You realize that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes I wonder why we do what we do, but, listen, it's never boring here. There's always something.
I can imagine.
There's always something going on. There's always R&D going on. It's surprising. Like, we don't really have a big team. Like, you guys would be amazed at how many people are in this building we're in right now. And sometimes I wonder, like, how do we even get done when we get done? And it just, everyone does about 10 different jobs. Everyone here is super passionate about what we do. And so, like, we just have an awesome team that just likes to get shit done.
I've watched the podcast with my wife, and she's just like, these guys do all this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, man. Especially in that first 10 minutes of the episodes, it's typically, just rambling, and I'm like, this is great. I will say that a lot of the companies you see, even the ones that attempt to do frequency on the scale that you guys are, they almost always tend to get like, something tends to slow them down, like whether it's a production problem or like a product turns out like not so good, or they can't do this or whatever. I'm impressed by the fact that, like, even when you share updates, these same things that would catch up other brands and companies don't really seem to phase you guys at all. Like, I mean, obviously talking about the scooper.
Yeah, we've seen it all. We just adapt and, adjust, and we try not to get bogged down by that. And also, if you're working on, and that's the great thing about working on 5 projects at once, if one gets pushed back a couple of weeks, right? Like, okay, you know what? There's been a raw material shortage and you're going to have to put a pause on that. Well, great. Guess what? That means I can focus more on this other project that we also have burning, right? And so, always having something to work on keeps us from sitting here twiddling our thumbs waiting for other people. Because at the end of the day, the holdup doesn't come on our end, right? Like, it really doesn't. It's coming on all our vendors and our suppliers and our manufacturers, all of that. And so that's why we like to constantly innovate, right? Like, we got to pivot. I don't like sitting still, right? Like, I really don't. And so,
I gather that.
And that's why we have also, 3 or 4 brands here. And, we're already talking about other brands that we're thinking of doing down the line, especially when we move facilities next year. It'll give us even more opportunity to expand the brand offering.
So the last question I have would be, we talked about pretty much everything I could think of. Is there anything, any product, any supplement, and I probably already know the answer to this question, that you haven't done or would like to do or would like to just perfect, or, like, I guess your Doug's masterpiece, or, like just the thing that you've been wanting to do but haven't, whether it be a brand or even like a special edition product or whatever?
So usually when I get in my mind we're going to do something, it usually ends up happening, right? And so like the energy drinks were that, right? Like, I knew nothing. Listen, energy drinks is like, it's a whole other ballgame. It's just like the supply chain, the logistics, the capital investment, all of that. But we were hell-bent on doing the energy drinks. And so, and we have a bunch of updates in 2021 for that as well, which I won't even get into. I'll just tease you with that. So, I think the big one for me right now is the bar, right? It's one of those things that I've been working on for so long. I mean, like, literally, like, we started thinking about this years ago, and now we've been actively working on it for a good year, So, like, I mean, like, actively working with manufacturers, doing in-house R&D, and it's just a hard thing, because it's not hard to put out a protein bar, but it's hard to put out a protein bar that falls within the specs that we want. And so, that is the big thing right now that I'm hoping we can nail, right? Like, at this point in time, we've gone through so many different iterations of it that, I'm kind of wondering, will I ever approve anything? Because now at this point, I put the X through just about everything, sent my way, and I'm never happy with it. So I'm hoping that I will get to a point where I accept, the final samples here. But really, that's probably the big thing right now. is having a protein bar. And, believe it or not, I'm really excited about the balls too, because it's so unique, right? And it's
I agree with that.
And it's a different model, right? Like everyone is doing, like I said, mass market balls, mass market distribution, but there is money to be made, and a gap in the market in those limited they're almost like homemade, right? Like, that more limited and exclusive run functional food. And I think we have just an amazing product that I'm excited to bring to the market. So right now, those two functional food pieces, and then we're really only halfway through this rebrand. So like, there's just so much more work to be done just on the core side and what we have going on. So I don't think I could pin one thing on the core side. I would have to say it's the bars.
Well, I will agree with you. I've always appreciated companies entering new realms, even though, it's something you'll be familiar with if you've been working on it for years. But yeah, like companies into new categories, new formats, it's always exciting to see it. And especially when they're not familiar with it, because you always end up with something that's like not the norm, which sounds like is what we're going to get from Core later this year. But
I'm telling you, Shane, you're going to love our balls. You're going to love putting our balls in your mouth. You're just really going to love it.
Yeah, I noticed when you watch the episodes with you and Pat, it's just like you obviously enjoy the joke with the balls, because you just hammer it home. Like even in times where you don't need to pronounce the name of the product, it's in there. And I mean, it's pretty funny because usually Core is a very like serious, just clean cut kind of thing. So that's why I thought it would be better for America. But you're right, it will be interesting, and it is very unique. At least from sports nutrition, there are a lot of functional companies, like you said, that do the homemade style, like we just did a batch, buy it, gone kind of thing. So it would be cool to see that infusion with sports nutrition. But for this interview, I think that's about it until I guess we catch up with you next time. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it.